Hi, I'm Emily Newman, and this is part 3 in a series sharing my abstract process with you as I partner with Strathmore using some absolutely incredible new materials. I also highly encourage you to go back and watch my introduction video and my part 2 where I lay the foundation for this painting, but I'm really excited to jump in and share with you the next step in my abstract process. First, going to be coming in with those Polycolor pencils. I think I'm going to start with this Bordeaux red wine. I feel like it's going to contrast but complement the peachy color in the background. I'm also going to come in with this medium gray, and that'll kind of enhance and bring out some of that Payne's gray. Anytime I don't like really what's happening on the canvas, I know I have the freedom to cover it up with each step of the process. So I don't really love how the paint is bleeding here, but when I come in with my texture, I can actually cover it with a really opaque swoosh. Whenever I am creating mark making and line work, I like to hold the pencil or pastel on the far end so that I have a really loose organic draw. I don't want to come in holding the tip of my pencil because it's going to feel really forced and like I'm actually illustrating. Instead, I want really loose, flowy, organic line work. This is a very quick part of my process, so keep an eye on it. Next, I'm going to use some chalk pastel, and that's going to just add another variation in my line work so you get some of that thick, thin, and really a lot of interest. I'm using a blue-gray. You can see how where the foundation is still a little bit damp, the color of the pastel deepens and darkens, and I love to kind of allow that to happen. I hold my pastel similarly to how I hold my pencil, very loose and kind of giving it a twisting motion while I draw. I also change how much pressure I am putting on the pastel so I get thinner lines and thicker lines throughout. I am coming in again down here with like a peachy color pastel and just creating more marks kind of the same way with this thin to thick organic movement. Now that I've added quite a bit of line work, I'm going to go ahead and mix up my colors for my heavy body acrylic that I will apply with my Catalyst brushes and Catalyst Wedge. All right, I'm going to go ahead and mix up some of these heavy body acrylics with a palette knife here on my palette. I'm going to start with the System 3 Daler-Rowney Blush Tint. And the paint has separated a little bit from the medium, so the pigments in the medium need to be mixed together. This blush tint color is really going to complement well with my fluid foundation on this piece. So I'm using the palette knife here just on this cardboard to mix up my paint, and I'm going to add a little depth to this color. Adding some of this raw umber, so that's just going to mute it out a little bit and add a little more depth to the color. Now I have this beautiful peachy brown gray that I'm going to be coming in with my Catalyst Wedge and adding texture to my peaks. I love to load up the back of these catalyst wedges and then come in, and I'm going to be using a similar motion where I go from small to open, close to open is how I like to think of it, and follow the movement of my piece, or I apply from open to close where I have a wider part that closes in. Because I know I want to cover what's happening here, I'm going to start by coming in right here and creating that movement. So here, my acrylic is going to jump up off the canvas. I have some thicker, heavier bits and then some more translucent that's mixing in with the water. So you can see some of the mark making behind the opaque acrylic. I'm going to use a palette knife here to add some more to that. And I hope you're starting to see my vision here of this closed, tight section of concentration that just really opens up and reveals beauty. It's kind of picturing like a vulnerability when you open up and pour yourself out, open up and feel your emotions, and beauty comes out of it. I can also come in here with one of these catalyst brushes and kind of use it the same way as I do a palette knife, where I can come in and twist and move, creating balance. So I'm bringing in this like coffee mocha color and then creating some movement over here so the whole piece kind of ties together. Now I'm going to add some peach pink Sisto 3 heavy body acrylic, and I'm going to mix that one with the titanium white. And this is actually a whole lot thicker than the other acrylic. So now I have a very rich, buttery, light pink, peachy color. You can see and really nice and thick, heavy, literally like butter. So for this piece here, I'm trying to picture this canvas as a whole and this canvas as a whole and kind of see in their composition what else is needed to help it feel complete. You can really create a lot of beautiful balance if you step back and look at each piece as a whole. Something I'm gonna do a little bit different this time. I'm going to take a bit of this heavy body titanium white, some of this raw umber, and then I'm going to break the rules a bit and take the same Payne's Gray, Daler-Rowney System 3 acrylic ink, and add a few drops of that into my heavy body acrylics. I'm going to use this palette knife to make sure everything is mixed up really well, and it's going to create a very muted blue-gray. I am going to use my Catalyst Wedge again to apply this color. As I step back and look at this piece, I am feeling like it's complete. Thank you so much for joining me as I have walked you through my abstract process using some of these absolutely incredible materials. The Strathmore canvas was super great to work with, very high quality. I love the texture on the front as well as the stability of the stretcher bars. And they're the nice gallery depth canvases that do really well standing alone, don't even need to be framed. I really love all of these materials that I got to play with today, and I definitely encourage you to try them as well. Everything is linked down in the description on this video, and I would love to answer any questions you have about my process. I am a completely open book. I am a huge fan of artists sharing what they know, sharing what they're passionate about. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me I can be found through emilyannartstudio.com, that's Ann with an E, or on Instagram at emilyannartstudio. Thanks again for taking some of your precious time to learn from these videos, and thank you to Strathmore for giving me the opportunity to give back to this incredible artist community.